Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. On to episode 60 now. Any shirt numbers that belong to players? Number 60, anybody? I was
actually going to cheat earlier and look it up, but I didn't.
Callum, I told you earlier, didn't I?
I was going to say I almost done the exact same, but it took me the answer.
There's nobody. Not one player that has worn the number 60 for Celtic. Will that change? Who knows, but no one for now. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you once again to G4 Claims for giving us this beautiful space. You'll notice we're back down the stairs today. Kieran, you made a very keen observation that we lost at the weekend after recording upstairs, so you've asked us to come back down.
I'm not a superstitious man, but I'm a little stitious.
And so we've made the change. We're trying our best to manifest a win here at the weekend. We'll come on to all of that. Also, very quickly, by the way, the zipper is looking very nice. Big shout out to Seltzer here. Tees for Tim's. Get yourselves your hands on this, by the way. An absolute cracker. You like it?
I'm having Comper.
I'm having Comper.
Oh, I'm having Stomper.
I'm having Stomper. Yes. Welcome, boys. Callum, I'll start with you. How you doing, mate? A tough weekend, to say the least, but we've made it. We're alive. Are you looking forward to talking shite for the next hour?
Yeah, I mean, it's an odd day when I usually come on here, so it shouldn't be too hard, but I just need to sort of try and get past that weekend, look on to the next.
And Kieran, you just got by the weekend. Just.
The skin of my teeth, man. That is really got a rough weekend, but
I think we've got a couple of questions in relation to the weekend in the Q&A segment of the show. I know there's one that's like talking about our day, but you actually woke up on Callum's couch on Monday morning, didn't you?
Not my finest moment.
I mean, it's better than me. I could have woke up anywhere. I literally, it was lucky for me to wake up my masses, but here we are. We're here to talk about Celtic anyway, and I guess, a good place for us to start is probably just touching on the weekend very quickly, because it's the first time that us as a podcast have managed to sit and talk about it. I did say that I wanted to put it behind us and I wanted to move on and speak positively about Celtic, but I'll start with you, Kieran, because you were on the last show. We went to Hampden feeling rightly confident, but we never managed to get the job done. We lost the game in extra time. What did you take from Sunday?
I mean, when we took the lead, even at that point, I don't think I was overly confident, because, I don't know, I just felt we weren't at our best at all that day. We'd managed to nick the goal, and I thought, obviously Carter Vickers could have put us 2 up. If that had happened, it could have been very different, but I don't know, we weren't the deserved winners on the day, and Rangers were more up for it, so, I mean, that's how we never got through. But I don't, it's a brutal one to look back on, because we went in, we weren't as fearful as, I'm not saying we should have been more fearful, but maybe some people were really overconfident for Sunday, but at the end of the day, it was a cup tie when it went to extra time. Wasn't our day. It's gutting at the time, but we've got a league title to focus on getting now.
And I think that's the main kind of story from this now, Callum, isn't it? We'll talk about Sunday in depth in a moment, this coming Sunday, but I guess it's about just putting it behind us now, looking for the positives in our season and trying to get over the line with a double. Now, we looked a little bit leggy at the weekend. We've seen players drop down during the course of the game with cramp, with injury, whatever. We have that now concern that we need to try and get to the end of the line now with players being fit. But we've got a group of players who you're confident in seeing. We spoke about this, even if we lost the game, we'd be confident in defeat to go and do the job. Do you think that's now just the case for this group of players to keep the head strong and move on for the next 5 games?
Definitely. I think when you've seen also those pictures come out, obviously it's Cal McGregor, that then again bringing all the players in, having that chat with them. Also, I'd like to have been one of those players to hear what was said, but Cloutier has said to them, right, let's just get this by us out the way now. It's happened. Get this behind us. We move on to Ross County and go from there.
Yeah, that's a big game. It suddenly became an even bigger game after that defeat. It's potentially now the biggest game of the season. You look at this, quite simply put, you win this game, you've suddenly got the chance to win the title against Rangers, either mathematically or or basically, because if we win this game and then we beat Rangers, even if Rangers win this weekend, the goal difference you would imagine is too much for Rangers to overcome. So you've got a really solid chance of coming closer and closer to that league title against Rangers, but you need to get the job done first against Ross County. Kieran, I'll start with you. There's been a slight narrative, I think, that's came out of this game at the weekend against Rangers that is, there's suddenly a lot of Rangers fans and a lot of the media as well who are suddenly making out as if Celtic haven't got what it takes to get over the line, that we're finished, that there's going to be some struggle and we're going to limp over the finish line. Do you think that's deserved after one cup loss?
No, absolutely not. I think even some of our support are guilty of pure hitting the panic button here, because as soon as we've spoken about before, it's very reactionary. We do it all the time. If something's going good, it's going great. If it's minor slip up, it's end of the world. So obviously the media in this country are just going to run with that. It's just exactly what they do, and they're just trying to get clicks on their stories. But I mean, you look at the team for the full season. In the league, we've been brilliant for months and months and months. So consistent. And as we were talking about earlier, we were talking about the game past Ross County. The team isn't going to look at it that way. They've came out and said many a time. I know it's the pure cliche, but they're taking it one game at a time.
Yep.
They're not a group of players that are going to get too ahead of themselves. As much as us as fans sometimes do, I don't think they're ever going to buy into anything like that. So they're going to go into Ross County. You said there, Sunday's the biggest game of the season. They've looked at it every game this season has been the biggest game of the season. Your biggest game's your next one.
Aye.
So I think
you're only as good as your last, and your next one's always your biggest.
it's pure cliches, but it's something that they've got to be gone by, and it's clearly have been doing it this season. I think maybe a lot of people have been, after that defeat on Sunday, really try to milk it as much as they can. Obviously we've got a couple of injuries now to deal with, but if we can go up there and put in a professional performance and don't take Ross County lightly, because they've been playing alright to get themselves into the top half, so we need to go out there and just give what we've gave all season, and hopefully we can get a win, and then we can start looking forward to the next 4 games. It's just game by game now.
Aye.
Just try to tick them off.
As Stevie would say, not long now. That gig pod, you know what I mean?
It's mental we're this far into the season, but because it feels like only like the other week I'm sitting there and we're only a third into the season, and we're only this, and now we're down to the final run-in. We're in the split now. This is well and truly the business end of the season.
It feels like only yesterday it was that point in the season, 6 games in, won 3, lost 3, everything was bleak and dire, and that's the thing, you know, it's so easy for folk to get wound up about last weekend and get bogged down by that result, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to look, I'm never going to accept defeat. I am disappointed. I am gutted we're not going to go into a final and have a chance to win the treble. I'm not happy that we've lost to Rangers, but what I'm certainly happy about is the fact we are in this position to go and win a double. You know, not my wildest dreams would I have imagined us being in this situation.
It's meant how the narrative's changed for the other side of the city this season, but for sacked by Christmas, and now it was you're not getting a treble.
I know, exactly. That's not. When was that ever a sort of brag? You know what I mean? Like that just, and you know, 4 trebles in 6 years. I guess, you know, we do run this city. You know, that's the case. We have kind of made the treble seem so ordinary. But you know, seeing that narrative change, you're right. So many tweets were highlighting that the weekend. You know, it's the fact it was we've stopped your treble. Postecoglou was meant to be sacked. It's funny watching the kind of backtracking.
It's just mental how much has changed over the course of this season. It's been a wild season of the cinch.
Yes, Callum, it's a massive chance at the weekend to take that step further. I was reading earlier an article that involved Chris Sutton, and he spoke about this game on Sunday and how Celtic can try and or should try and get the business done. And I think the opening half hour he was talking about go in and kind of get almost some sort of retribution, you could say, from the loss at the weekend, and use that loss as motivation to go in and just get the job done early. Do you think that's the kind of attitude you're going to see from the boys here, guns blazing from the start, and try and correct and right those wrongs and prove to the media that, like, okay, it was one slip up, it was a cup game, shut your hole?
Definitely, I think even if Darcy finished within the first 10 minutes, could have 3 goals put by them, Brenner, even better. But no, definitely, I think Postecoglou certainly had many a word to say after that game in the changing room, but as I said, I think they will use this as that fuel to keep themselves going, to push themselves past them. Now, the only thing that sort of puts me a wee bit, I don't know also how true it is, somebody put into it the other day, the last time Ross County lost at home was Ralston's 97th minute winner.
Crazy, that's the thing. Kieran, you touched on it, you said, you know, we can't underestimate them.
No.
They're in the top half for a reason. They've had a fantastic season by their standards, to be in this position, fighting to try and get more points now, more money in the bank. And you think about that last visit to Dingwall as well. I think we all watched that live at the time. McGinley didn't because he decided that Spider-Man was more important. But, you know, a shout out to McGinley, by the way, who you'll notice isn't here this week.
Did want to be here.
He did want to be here, he really did, but we gave him the night off. Didn't want infected by his cold.
Ryan didn't want to edit a 4-man show.
Listen, to edit when it's from one side, I'm just sitting there.
Mask
sat in the corner.
Mask on him and everything. Now, I know the mask mandate's gone, son, but you can fucking keep on. But you know, Callum, I remember watching that last game and we had to dig deep. We really had to fight hard. I mean, reliving that at the weekend would be kind of nasty.
Horrific.
It'd be horrible, but I mean, that's just Celtic, really, innit? If that was to happen, it would not surprise me in a sense. It's just the Celtic way.
I mean, you'd like to hope now we've got the bit between our teeth after getting a very disappointing result last weekend. The players will be out to try and prove something, hopefully. And as you said, it was Chris Sutton was saying in his column or whatever, hopefully we can just go out and try and put the game to bed early. So to try and rest the nerves of every Celtic fan watching.
Yeah, and one thing that we've got to touch on in this weekend is the team and who does go out there and play. I think last week there was a lot of performances that annoyed folk. People are calling for some changes. People are saying, you know, maybe O'Reilly should come back into the starting 11. A lot of people have been very critical about Jota's performance last week. That I see you rolling your eyes there, Kieran.
I mean, he wasn't exactly up to it, but I mean, it's another thing that's changed there the past couple of months. It's that he's hardly been at the heights he was at the first half of the season, but I mean, still, like, to kid on, there's not a brilliant player there. It's just exactly what happens. As soon as somebody's not exactly up to it, it's the end of the world. Shouldn't sign them, but before we were meant to be breaking the bank and that for him. So I don't know.
We'll come on to it. There's a question about that we'll touch on it in depth towards the end. But there was calls about Jota. But one thing we've got to talk about, the breaking news tonight that came out is that Josip Juranovic is injured. The extent of the injury hasn't been revealed fully, I believe, but there is talk that he'll be out for a few weeks. He'll be a major doubt for the Rangers clash at Celtic Park next week as well, which means poetically, after his late winner last time, it looks as though this is now the time for Tony Ralston to stand up and be counted for in this crucial point in the season. Callum, he had such a fantastic opening half of the season, Tony Ralston. He was brilliant. He was up there right in the conversation for probably Player of the Year. And I think to this point, I'd still say he could be the most improved Player of the Year. But now he's got a genuine chance to show that improvement and to show how important he is in what is the most crucial point in the season.
Definitely, I think obviously it is such a shame what has happened to Juranovic, but I think Ralston has to just grab this opportunity with both hands. Like, we've seen for how long Ange tried to keep him in the team and put Juranovic out to the left, but Juranovic just wasn't comfortable there. As soon as you move into right, as good as Juranovic is, you can only hope that Ralston come in. Even you'd like him to be able to have the same attributes he did have going forward in the first half of the season, but see if it's just to be that defensive right back, just sit there, do his job and just hoof it. I'm happy with that.
Kieran, the talk in the article, and just to quote it exactly, it was broke. I think it was by The Record, who I think it was them that got the exclusive or whatnot. Apparently they understand that the fullback will struggle for fitness before mid-May, which means that he will likely be missing for the matches against Ross County, Rangers, Hearts and potentially Dundee United. Basically his season's over, unless there is a kind of speedy recovery. How big a miss is Juranovic?
I know, it'd be a huge miss, but hopefully, as we were saying there, Ralston had a massive part to play at the start of the season. Hopefully he can try and regain that form as well, because we know this season he's shown that he is actually a decent player. They said this at this point last year, you'd have maybe thought we were absolute tongue out our arse, but I don't know.
It always makes me think of that clip on like the first episode of the season, and we done that wee game, and it was like loan keeper sell, and it's still on my TikTok, and I go back and look at it, and it's like Ralston and McGinley's exact words are punt so far to fucking like this is now the point where this is a big point in the season for him now. It's crazy how that's came around as well.
I know. I'm so happy to have ate my words on that, but hopefully he can continue to make me eat my words, because we need him to step up big time.
We do.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to come on to it as well, talking about the injuries, but Hatate, no injured, but came out on record saying that he's feeling fatigued. And I've seen a lot of people seem to think that they're talking about the full Celtic squad. No, what's the reason to be fatigued? I'm like, he's just after the back of a full season in Japan. I know he's been a vital part of our team since January. Yeah. So, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, I think now that he said that, I don't know if Ange is going to just try and maybe include him, but know the way he has been getting included, because there's no point in running somebody into the ground if they're not going to be able to get 100%. Maybe coming on off the bench or whatever. I don't know how the midfield's going to look, but one thing I don't think we will see is what many people didn't want a few months ago was Rogic and O'Reilly starting in the team. That's something that I think it's been a while since we've seen it, but it's something we don't really want to have to see again, because it's two very similar players, near enough the exact same mould, and it just doesn't work. You need a bit of difference in that midfield, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the midfield will be on Sunday, because I've actually seen quite a few different variations on Twitter of what people think should be starting.
A lot of Beatons and a lot of McGregor's moving up.
Seen Turnbull's and
Turnbull, that's right, of course. McCarthy, get him back in the team.
Sorrow.
Oh, Christ.
See, that's one I've seen a lot of people on Twitter being or complaining with Rogic for the weekend, but I said, do you want to complain the other week when they scored at Ibrox?
Nah.
Because he has that bit in off game, like, no, he's fucking, you need to pull him for the team, I sat the rest. I think that annoyed me, like, mainly.
It's just, especially in defeat, we become so reactionary. It's like,
I know, I feel like we say this every single time something happens. It's
aye.
generally the case every week. There's something new that everybody flips polar on every time. There's certain players obviously are worse for it, but I mean it just happens so much this season. But I suppose that's the ups and downs of football, innit?
Yeah,
and especially when everybody puts every waking thought onto Twitter.
Yep. That's what was it Dev always says in TSF, Twitter isn't real life, and I suppose he's right to an extent, but it's a general feeling of folk at this time, pardon me. In that same article, by the way, another point we should touch on, and there was talk of this, of course, Cameron Carter-Vickers, he had a little niggle at the weekend as well, and there is rumours, there are reports that he could miss some game time as well, but it's not been clarified. The time of recording right now, just to clarify, it's Thursday night. Ange will probably be doing his press conference by the time this is released, so we'll have more confirmation about players' fitness and who's available for the game on Sunday. So this could all be nonsense by now, but in the same article from The Record, or Football Scotland, who I think The Record run anyway, they spoke about how Carter-Vickers has reports that he could miss some action, which also brings to light the fact that Julian played with the B team the other day.
Because I mean, a lot that could be taken two different ways now that information's came out. Is he getting ready to play at the weekend, or as some people have been thrown in that's him well and truly out the plans now? But now when you hear that, you're wondering, is that trying to get some minutes into his legs before?
Because I think
seeing somebody like Julian in a B team game is a very weird sight. So I think, I don't know, it's easy to take it the wrong way. But
my thinking at first about Julian being in the B team was purely minutes related. I thought, like, he's my first thinking was, right, he's not going to play till the end of the before the end of the season for the main team, so we may as well get him football somewhere, and if we can get him involved in the B team, may as well. But I do understand, I think his time at Celtic's limited as well. But when you talk about the weekend, I think a lot of people are now at the point with players like Welsh and going, I'd rather see Julian. I don't know about me personally, but I think a lot of people's patience have wore thin with the likes of Stephen Welsh, and they'd rather see Julian come in. So maybe,
especially after the weekend there, I think he never left the best impression on himself. So I think that is very fresh in the memory, and I think the majority of the Celtic sport would probably rather see Julian in there.
What about you, Callum? Would you rather Julian or Welsh?
I think I'd rather Julian. I think it's just Welsh was just, he just kept, it was like a deer in headlights so many times at the weekend. Just kept freezing up.
Did you see that stat? It was something about the amount of times possession was given away.
The time he came on.
Unbelievable. I think it was something like the whole time that Juranovic and Taylor were on the park, it was something like 7 times we gave the ball away, and then the short period of time that
14.
Yeah, 14. That's just.
I don't believe it. I see on Twitter anymore, man. Because it seems like I start double checking profiles now. I don't know if I'm getting the piss taking it as yet. It was like, what was the one after we played Rangers? And I'm pretty sure open goal actually.
The Dyson Ryder.
And they had him doing his like running at like 45 kilometres an hour. I'm like, that is surely like a world record or something.
Usain Bolt's like a bastard. Beat my record.
It was one of the boys on Twitter put it up and I seen him clip that.
Fucking fantastic. Let's kind of wrap up the Ross County preview then. It's a massive game for Celtic. We need to find the win. We can't allow the momentum to shift any more further. And I don't even think that there has been I don't buy into this. It doesn't feel like, for me personally. It's because it wasn't in
the league.
I know. This was a kind of. We spoke about this. I still looked at that game as a sort of free hit, and I went, in a sense, not that I'm saying I have to accept a loss, but
I think after Sunday will be a clearer picture of where the momentum lies.
Yeah, of course. So in terms of the 11 that plays, then Joe Hart, of course, in goals. Happy birthday this week to Joe, by the way. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the cake that I baked you. And I'll see you on Sunday night after the game for a wee bevy, my man.
I feel weirded out, man.
You're laughing at. You're laughing at. You know,
Issues, man.
Issues. Apparently, I have issues.
The boy's got issues, man.
Fuck off, Perry. Where's McGinley when you need him? He makes me look better. The back four. Of course, no Juranovic. So Ralston, I imagine we both agree on. Who do you think will be the centre half partnership? Do you think that Kartovic, if Kartovic is out, who do you think comes in? I'm going to guess that it's going to be Starfelt. And I'm going to just say it. I think it's going to be Starfelt and Welsh if Vickers is out this weekend.
Because they've played together a few times this season.
It pains me saying, you don't need to agree, so let me hear your thoughts, what he's thinking.
I don't know. I think what you're saying is a more realistic thing, but I feel like a lot of people would probably rather see Julian.
Yeah,
and
and I'd rather as well.
It's weird, but because we've not really seen Julian this season, so I've not really got anything to back up me saying, I want Julian starting. Mm-hmm. It's merely because we've seen of Stephen Welsh at the weekend there. It's kind of fresh in the memory of everybody. Everybody's a wee bit fearful of seeing that, and they kind of would maybe rather take the gamble on somebody like Julian, who we know has been brilliant in the past, but has also been it for the past year and a half after end up falling into the post at Sellik Park.
Fallon's putting it mildly.
It was a hero's injury.
it was like a slide. It was a huge slide, in fact.
Well, fair play to him. It was meaning well.
It was meaning well. It was good
when he was sliding in for that, I bet he didn't expect to be playing in the B team. It's 18 months later.
Aye.
So I don't know. I'd probably reckon I'd say Starfelt and Julian, but as you said, the more realistic thing is people that have played together already. And Starfelt and Welsh.
What about you, Cam?
I mean, more thinking on Hitachi's comments, because they could have always tried Beaton back in there. So I don't know if he would have, but exactly that was my reaction thinking it. It's just, I personally would rather Julian between him and Welsh. Welsh is just, it's just not there for me.
Doug, mate. Was he Matthew Duff done the heel turn?
I was very surprised with that.
Big heel turn, massive, biggest heel turn in Celtic Twitter history. I was lying in my bed, fucking steaming, and I thought it was seeing things, honestly, and I just seen the Matthew Duff tweeted like, Welsh is not good enough for Celtic, get rid of him or something. I was fucking hell.
I'd love to keep track on what my thoughts on Stephen Welsh was this season, because I really can't remember.
Never been a big
I don't know
fan.
if I was maybe grown to like him a wee bit more at the start of the season, because we never really knew anything else.
Aye.
But no idea.
Taylor at left back as well then, boys.
Is he sound?
I think Taylor's sound. Think he's sound. We'll see tomorrow when Ange comes out, I suppose. The midfield three then, what do you think will happen? I think that after Hitachi's comments, he might be dropped. Not dropped. I'm not. Well, that sounded like I was wording that as if he's getting rested. I think that I have a feeling it would be Tom McGregor and O'Reilly. I have a feeling that might be the three. I can
see O'Reilly starting on Sunday. So. And I've seen a lot of talk of Beaton as well coming in, so it wouldn't surprise us maybe for a game like that up there where you might need Callum McGregor to try and get a bit further forward, because we've seen in previous times, like when we went up to there Dingwall in December, we were kind of like they were parked in pretty much, and it was hard to try and break them down. So if you try to get somebody like Callum McGregor, who's played very well in the defensive role since he's came in as captain, but I think maybe on Sunday we might need him to be pushing further forward and have somebody like him and O'Reilly, but I reckon that probably will be the three.
So you agreeing with that?
Aye.
You agreeing with the same
I
thing?
guess it'll be that three.
Right, and then front three.
See, is Yakimakis fit? Because I've seen people saying they've seen him in the back of the videos training this week, and obviously last week Ange did say he should be back for Ross County, but is he going to risk throwing him in for the start, or is it going to be... I really don't know.
I don't know. It's a tough one. He has, obviously, Kyogo didn't start at Hampden either, so I don't know what the situation was. This is the other pain about us not knowing the Ange
left in the dark,
conference. Man. We feel like it's just a little bit kind of guessing here and there. I don't know. I have a feeling Kyogo could maybe come in and start, since he didn't, but he did play a lot of football at the end of the day. He came on the second half. And
I think it suits Yakimakis a game like this, to be honest.
Aye,
instead
if he's available, I'd say him, because he can chase the golden boot as well. Yakimakis, I think he's got 4 goals to get.
He's 4 goals off it, but I seen a bad. It was
3 off it.
How many goals does the leader got? Because it can't be a lot.
Charles Cook's only got about 14, I think, 14, 15.
Piss poor season for
in terms of
the goal tally, isn't it?
Spread around the Celtic team, which is the thing. I'm going to just go out on a limb and I'm going to say Maida. Abada. Giacomakis. There's my three.
Jota not playing.
No. There's my three. And I'm not saying that out of any... I'm not one of these ones that are turning on Jota. I just have a feeling Abada might come in. So there's my three. That's my guess. Let you two go with your three.
I think if Giacomakis is fit, he's starting, because I think that's a game that would suit him a lot better than Kyogo, because I don't think we're going to get too much space to be putting boys in behind up at Dingwall. So I think if he starts, if he's available, he's starting for me. Maeda, I don't think he's done anything to really deserve to get dropped. See, another thing, like all the Rangers fans going on about Maeda, and wow, is he still running about the park and that, slagging him off as if he didn't cause them absolute havoc at Ibrox. Oh, that area, I just had to get off my chest. I remember seeing that on Twitter. I was like, that is just strange.
That was very baffling when I seen that as well.
I mean, Abada played well against him the last time he had to lead the line up in Dingwall. So I don't know. I can reckon seeing Abada for the start as well. I agree with Ryan. I think that would be my three anyway. Every week I feel like I'm saying, even though I defended Jota earlier, I feel like he's due to do something big. I don't know if Ange is probably going to drop him for this game and maybe allow him to come on off the bench and try and make an impact against tired legs. I feel like that might give him a bit more confidence to go and do something like that. But I'd go with Ryan's front three.
Okay. And Callum?
I think it has to be the exact same.
Okay,
If Giacomakis is fit,
echo chamber we've got here.
What did you say?
I said we're a right echo chamber then.
I know exactly what we got to say, Callum. Sorry, finish your point.
No, just saying, as like Kieran touched on, it knows if this is going to be one of the games we'll get those wee bits of space in behind. We can try and slip Kyogo in. You need somebody that is physical that will go and play against them.
Nice.
To be Giacomakis.
Before we move on to the next segment of the show, that is the preview for the Ross County game over. That's actually quite a beefy preview for what is a massive game. I'm quite happy the time we've covered on that. We're about 27 minutes through the show. What I was going to say though, Callum, is a lot of people enjoyed your last appearance on the show and your outrage towards, who was it again? Who were you fucking moaning about?
Who's it? No one.
Ryan Jack. So have you got anybody for us this week? Anybody you want to lash out at? Anybody at all?
I'm not getting all this hype with John Lundstrom. Start of the season, it was fucking slander. He's awful. He's been saying half his shite, this, that, and the rest of it. Now he puts in a couple of tackles and fucking walks about with his chest puffed out. He's the best thing since sliced bread.
What is the thing we've seen as well? And it was like, I wish he was up against that clown Scott Brown.
Twice.
Honestly, they're so desperate for somebody to be like somebody better than Scott Brown. Like, just get a rest, you fucking weirdos, man.
Yeah, it is. That was funny considering Scott Brown actually played against him twice while he was there, and in both occasions didn't lose, which was nice. You know?
It's the photo they're all using with him and a tattoo, and they're like, he's getting it big. He's getting it big to somebody that can't speak fucking English.
I know. It was somebody put up a tweet. It's like fucking, we can't understand the Scousers, never mind the Japanese. Like, honestly, but I agree with Cam. Well done, son. I was waiting for you. I'm going to start asking every week for your wee. I mean, Kieran just does it without requests, so I'm going to find something to moan at anyway. Right, okay. Before we move on to the next segment of the show and talk about the next topic, it's time for our first wee game of the show. It's that Who's That Tick? I'm going to actually get on the board the song. Like, I'm just going to use Who's That Chick, because fuck, it's one of my favourite songs.
Get his copyright straight.
The only thing I use a bit is like, who's that chick? I'll be fine. Right. So last week, none of you's got it right again. Both you and Ryan failed, Kieran. And what was a pretty tough one this week? I think it's a bit easier. I think Kieran has been nice to you, Kieran. It was a pleasure at the weekend. Thanks for having us up. A good day out. Sadly, I remember half of it, and the other half will remain as mush. So this week, the link between the two players is that they have both scored goals at Wembley whilst affiliated with Celtic. So there's your clue for the players this week, right? So I'll start with you, Cam, since you weren't on last week. Would you like player A or player B?
I'll just go player A and get it out of the way.
Player A, okay then. Right, the first player then for Callum Craig. He joined Celtic from Hibs and he left Celtic to join Middlesbrough. Joined from Hibs and left for Middlesbrough. And as always, I'll maybe give you a wee clue as to how many appearances, etc., that they made for Celtic, just to make it a bit easier. If you guys back home are shouting at the screen, then here's a clue for you if you aren't. He played for Celtic between 2007 and 2010. Played 26 times.
2010.
Struggling, Chief.
Thanks. If it was scored at Wembley,
yes,
then it's going to be that fucking Wembley.
I know.
Cup.
As soon as you said that, I'm feeling like it.
Some
who scored in that?
Cy Ferry era. We let him.
I just don't know who we would have signed for Hibs. Like, see where Middlesbrough at? Is it like when Strachan pure fleeced the full team? And
I think it might have been just before Strachan done that. I don't imagine Strachan would have took this fella away. I really don't. Let's see. Yeah, it's Strachan signed him.
but does
Strachan signed him in the January of 2010 alongside Willow Flood and Barry Robson.
Yeah, who the fuck was on that team?
I don't think you're going to get it. If you never got it straight away, I don't think you will.
Nah, just kind of think off the top of my head.
You want to pass?
It's this scoring at Wembley. It's that Wembley Cup thing. Ah, fuck it, I'll just pass it.
Do you have a guess, Kieran?
Nah.
He was caught winching Darren
Oh,
O'Day. It's Chris
Killen.
Killen. Chris Killen is the, I could have said that and I was like, I'll give it away straight away. I'm like, he was caught winching a teammate. Now, I
I
still
didn't know he
need,
got in for Hibs.
I still fucking need an
Never.
explanation to that photo. Like, on it, if you've listened to the podcast and you've not seen this photo, honestly, fucking Google it. It's Darren O'Day and Chris Killen. Is it like the airport or something?
I thought it was just like a night out or something.
They're sitting winching, like proper, you know,
There's too many
going
photos
for
of
it.
that. It's
Yeah,
like,
fair
the ones
play.
with Slaney, ones I've put in the
Aye.
chat many times, the ones
Aye.
I put on Twitter.
So,
It's like, get up, you Chris, something.
so that was Chris Killen. Kieran, your player, he joined Celtic from AEK Athens. And no, it's not Vasilis Barkas. He's not scored at Wembley. So the player joined from AEK Athens and left Celtic to join AIK. And as always, I'll give you a little clue. He played for Celtic between the years of 2010 and 2012 and made 49 appearances for the club.
So he went to AIK after.
He joined AIK after and joined from AEK Athens. So he came from Greece and left for Sweden.
See, I just don't know who they got for Greece, but I mean, if he's went to Sweden after it, I'm thinking Mustorovic, but it's obviously not going to be that. I don't even know. Wait, 2010, 2012, going for AEK Athens. Is there something pure obvious I'm missing here? What are you looking at me like that for?
Just
I don't even know. Fuck it, I'll just go Mustorovic.
correct
Is
answer
that
is Daniel Majstorovic.
Sounds like I never played for this for pure long.
There
so.
you go, Daniel Majstorovic, 2 years, 49 appearances, a lot more than I thought he actually made for Celtic.
I can't remember him been out for ages and he fractured his eye socket.
Another fantastic dance anthem. Dan Majstorovic. na, 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 na. So there you go. Killen scored in the Wembley Cup for Celtic in those run of fixtures. And Dan Majstorovic, he scored an own goal for Sweden that was actually England's 2000th goal. So there you go. So he's a
It's a
landmark.
record you don't want.
So there you go. That was your two players this week. Thank you for participating. And who's that tick? Yeah, brilliant. Now let's talk about an old friend.
Oh, bad old Lenny, man.
You straight away.
I was waiting for it, man. It's going to be bad old Lenny.
Let's talk about Neil. He's not hungry. He is starving. He's starving to bring back the memories of last season. As we start to put them to bed, boys, Neil Lennon's just like, nah.
That's fine,
Yeah.
but he's getting so many people. Like, see, when he just sits in silence, a lot more people starting to come round to it. I mean, not me personally, I really couldn't give a fuck about what Lennon know, but it's the fact that whilst he's had this extended period of radio silence where he's not been talking mince in the papers, I've seen a lot more people, as soon as his name's brought up on Twitter, jump to defend him. Right, fair enough. Time's clearly healing your wounds pretty well. It's not the same for Oyes, and I think that's fair enough. Somebody put it pretty well earlier like that. If he just sits in silence and doesn't say anything about last season, people are starting to move on for it. If you don't poke wounds, then people are either going to forgive you or they're never going to forgive you and just leave it at that and accept it. But see, when he continues to come out with this, you're in Cyprus, man. Focus on your job. Why are you sitting getting interviews like this? What is it, PLZ Soccer? Absolute garbage, man.
Yep.
It's just get a rest, honestly. Like,
Well,
I thought we were past this now, but there's been a decent period of time where it's like, oh, he's got a new job and that, right? That's the only reason he wins in the paper. But now he's sitting saying, oh, that's the PLZ Soccer and talk about last season. I'm like, people are starting to put it behind them. We've been very lucky this year that we got Ange in, and it hasn't been a pure disaster, and he's cleaned up your mess pretty well. But I mean, it shouldn't be understated the job that's been done this season to have such a miraculous turnaround, because under a different manager this could have went tits up.
Yep.
And it's easy to forget that because everything's went alright this season because Ange just came in and done a brilliant job. We could have got another manager, Enzo Maresca or somebody like this, Roy Keane. It could have went horrendously, and people would still be raging at Neil Lennon.
Yeah.
People are able to forgive Neil Lennon because this season went alright, and even though Ange inherited his mess, he's been able to work with it and actually turn the team around. But I just wish he would just stop talking to the paper, and I'm at the point where I don't even care. Like, the hatred's no burning anymore. It's just, I'm like, just get a rest, man.
Can he
and just-
darken our doors yet?
I'm gonna go that far, man. But I'm honestly just get a rest. Like, that's if Neil Lennon's listening to us, just get a rest, Lenny.
Lenny, if you do listen to this show, I don't know how you fucking stuck it out this long but after the time you've got. But I'll read the opening couple of lines of the Record article that came alongside this interview, because I think it's particularly interesting the way that they have worded it. They said, former Celtic boss Neil Lennon has revealed there are some ex-Parkhead teammates he no longer talks to since his acrimonious departure from Glasgow's East End, and he believes he was stabbed in his words, in the front, not the back, by his old pals upon his exit.
Such a poet, Lenny.
Speaking to PLZ Soccer, Lennon said, it was painful. People turn on you very quickly. That's the nature of football sometimes, but I didn't see it coming in the volume it did come. He said that his relationship with Desmond and Law hasn't changed. It was with other people, ex-teammates. He was very close to the two prior lists mentioned there, and still is. I'm far from happy. They basically stabbed me, not in the back, but in the front. And yeah, he goes on to speak about how he wasn't very happy. He speaks about the rebuild this season a little bit. Callum, I mean, do you feel like it's a little bit of a reach from Lenny or such? I don't know. This whole stabbed in the... What he did last season was a lot of his own doing. He had the chance to walk. And I don't know what ex-teammates he's talking about when he says he feels like he's been stabbed.
Because most of them spent the full time in the papers, bumming him up, like he's a Celtic legend.
Exactly. So I'm not entirely sure who he's on about, Callum, but do you feel like it's a reach for guilt or something with old Lenny here? Would that surprise you?
Seems a bit like a relevancy reach, just try to keep his name over here and try to keep himself going. I think, as Kieran touched on, see if he just left last season as it was, never said a word, just go out there, do your job, do what you're doing, fair dues, I'm fine with that. But I cannot be arsed from constantly coming out with these stories. It's like, right.
The wages must not be that good there in Cyprus.
No, they can't be too good.
But the snout's cheap. We love it, that. Yeah, so he said he spoke to Postecoglou a few times, thinks he's a really good guy. I feel like that's why the things he said for his, he's a really good guy.
Yeah, that's easy that I'm just sitting talking to him on the phone, he's just sitting like that to the phone.
So he spoke on him as well, talked about going on to hopefully win the league and such, and yeah, he said he's taking a leaf out of his book and just been in Australia, Japan, now in Scotland. So he was looking at it and thinking, why not go abroad and broaden your horizons, take on a different culture?
Get yourself a tan.
Looking at what Ange has done in his body of work was a sort of catalyst for me doing this. Do you think this is him trying to lay the path down for his eventual return to Celtic Park?
Changes his name to something great and tries to
Neil Lennon Ogley or something. I mean, yeah, it seems like there's a little hint of jealousy in there from Lenny. But look, listen, I agree, Kieran. I think it's one of these things he can just keep quiet now. And I suppose if he's doing an interview and the questions are being directed. There's not much you can do to deflect that, but I feel like a relevancy reach, the sort of words you used there, Callum, it does feel a little bit like that.
He's trying to keep his foot in the door out here.
I know, it's like, let it go. Like, you can support the club and be silent.
I know.
There's plenty of people. You don't see Martin O'Neill talk about Sellik every 2. Don't see Brendan Rodgers talk about Sellik every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? They'll quietly support the side.
I know. As I said, if he just early summer, I think it was worse because he was on like the mad. All the stuff for the Euros and that with BBC Radio, etc. He was in the studio talking about it all the time. He was getting the stories out in the paper. It was still very annoying at that point. Time went on, there was the odd article and you're like, just get a rest. But it's because it's been a prolonged period now where he's went out to Cyprus. You think, right, any reporting about him's going to be about how he's doing out there, and that'll be fair enough. People are starting to forgive him after last season, now that everything's started to go okay now. So, I don't know, I think he could have just kept his mouth shut.
Nice. Okay. Anything else you would want to add on Lenny, Callum, for a move on?
Nah, nothing comes to mind.
Nothing comes to mind. Not even an insult, no.
No.
The bitterness is fading.
The bitterness is fading.
As long as he fucking stops doing these interviews, man.
I never thought it would fade from you, Keelan, I'm not going to lie. And the
No, but
last...
that's what I'm saying. Is if you just give it time, I'm still raising. I'm not exactly. I'm not forgiving for last season. I think a lot of people are quick to, as I said to you, I think people are he's quick to forgive it because of how well things are going. But you best believe if this season never went well, it'd be the exact same for most of the support.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that I've got left on my agenda, unless you have anything afterwards to bring up that you think I've missed, is that Celtic this morning announced the launch of their own NFTs, which is just superb from the club. Very, very woke of them.
Moving into the new age.
Yes, absolute fucking farce in my opinion. I mean, who the fuck wants to pay £2,000 for a digital card of Callum McGregor? Surely that doesn't rise in value. I don't buy that.
I don't know.
Why the
I
fuck
don't
does
see
that go
any
up in value?
Celtic players rising in value.
I know, like,
I
come
don't really
on.
understand NFTs.
Nearly,
too much,
I'm not
to
going
be
to sit
fair.
here and make this an Elon Musk style podcast.
Jason,
right?
see what
I'd like
French
somebody
would
to
be
actually explain it
cryptocurrency.
to me, but so I've at least
I've
got
had
some
it
knowledge.
explained to me, but like I feel like I've got some understanding, but I don't really understand why they were worth X amount of money.
Rangers had
What
tons
was
for
them?
years. No fucking trophies.
Wow.
That bit of Sellik, that's nothing, you know. Sellik, that's a love that.
Jesus, I hate myself. I still remember like genuinely David Buick put up a tweet one night and he said, "What the fuck's an NFT?" and I put, "Rangers used them for years because of EBTs." I got a good ratio on
Did
David.
numbers.
I did numbers. I enjoyed that. But I think that's basically. I mean, genuinely though, I do want to speak my mind just very quickly. I think it's really poor from Celtic, and I'm not going to sit here and act all sanctimonious about it and get on a high horse in a moral high ground sort of situation. But I do, in a world where I feel like we're trying our best to make things more ethical and such, and especially a club like Celtic, we do a lot of things in terms of partnerships with gambling companies and now NFTs that I just think don't reflect the club too well. And I know if they're making money off it, it's in the best interest commercially for the club, but I don't know, I just feel like pushing it on naive people is not the best idea when they're really not. Especially NFTs, there's no real clarification on how these things are going to go.
See, the benefit is if people that are
weird.
naive and not understanding it, the good thing is they probably won't have a few grand to just spunk on a mad fucking football card.
That's exactly it. It's just a football card.
An online football card.
I
You have
bet
a-
it was.
No, but I'm
Get a
pretty sure
physical
in
show.
NFTs, it's not like you own something that's on the internet, but it's not actually like it's yours, but it's just like a picture or
Aye.
That's
get a grip, get a job.
I remember when we were young, we used to go outside, used to make fun. Bag
Think
of
I'm gonna do this.
minis, that's
I'm
an
going to use a
NFT.
Bitcoin. Aye. That's what I was
What's a
waiting.
Bitcoin? No, that's a Bitcoin. That does it from me in terms of what I had on the agenda for today. We're about 42 minutes into the show. I've got to pick my dad up for the pub at 12. So very quickly, I'll ask you guys, have you got anything that you want to bring up in relation to Celtic this week that you think I have missed?
Nah. I think the only thing I was going to bring up was bad old Lenny. If like you never mentioned that, so I think I've covered everything.
I'll take him a square go though, if he wants it. Callum, anything from you? No?
No, I feel we've covered everything.
Okay, then I'll quickly jump into the Twitter segment question thing. Thank you once again to all our viewers who have sent in questions this week.
No as
for
many
us.
food ones.
Wasn't he anything?
No as many.
No as many. No
Obviously,
as
there's some. Let's be realistic. Yeah.
Christ, we can't ruin the reputation of the podcast. You see, I got Hamish on the chat. You're right. Are you green?
No, fucking.
There's not a lot of food questions.
Lenny?
It's really fucking annoying me. I don't know, I'm about to turn into Kieran a bit like that. I've just been doing it since.
You're a twat. So we've got questions here. Thank you to our viewers for sending the questions every week. If you do want to get involved in this segment of the show, you know where to go. Go and follow us on Twitter at Sellik Podcast, SELLIK. Right, we'll go with the first question of the week then, and it's Lewis Walker, who says, "Hi guys, quick question. Do you think Celtic always had in mind that they would prefer to win the league over the Scottish Cup?"
I mean, I think it was a given, to be honest, but I don't think they went out there with I don't think any of the players went out there and thinking, okay, I don't really care if we get beat today. Every game's a massive game to them. Obviously, it's at this point we got beat, but there's no chance that they were sitting prioritising one over the other. Obviously, to everybody, it's a given that the league's the main priority, but if they're taking it game by game, they're not going to be thinking that way. So I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Calum, you'd probably.
Aye, with everything that was sort of riding on whoever won the league this season as well, that Champions League money and such, I think that was always going to be a priority.
Yeah. Adam asks, very kind question. How good has the podcast been so far without McGinley? Very cruel, Adam.
That's a sin.
It's been good, but a cracking show. McGinley, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. But if you fucking come on here and say 4-0 to Celtic going into that derby, I will be patting you off. That's a good question from Lewis again, who asked the first question there. What's your favourite TV show on just now? Like any that's currently on, I've got to say mine's it's just season 6. It's just started. It's the finale. Better Call Saul. What a programme. Get it watched, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not even watching it. It's actually on now.
I know neither.
Yours is probably still The Simpsons, Kieran. That's still running.
I'm pretty sure I was watching season 28 before I came in tonight, but I started The Sopranos. Obviously, it's no just on the now. But in terms of actual programs, I started watching The Sopranos the other week, but then I ended up getting sidetracked. It was good, but I need to get back into it.
Yeah. What about you?
Touch man, Sopranos.
Yeah,
So
watch
that's
that
main
now as
one I
well.
watched that.
Is there an intro song one? It's like.
See Kevin Bridges' first tour that he done to the DVD or the song he walked it to.
Aye,
so.
that. I thought I need to watch The Sopranos. I went and seen that film that came out.
I mean, you and Mackenzie.
We went to see it, and I went with no knowledge of anything apart from Tony
I think I'm
Soprano.
about halfway through season 2 and I just stopped. Like, no, I don't know.
I'm still powering through Lost as well. I'm still getting there.
If we had talked about actual favourite shows I've watched in the past year or so, Lost is up there.
Up there. Right, okay. Decent shouts there. If you had to pick, this is Joe asking this, if you had to pick between having a season ticket at Ibrox, going to all the games, or rehiring Lenny for a season, what would you pick?
Bring back Lennon.
Bring back Lennon.
Bring back Lennon.
Aye.
I'd bring back Lennon anyway, you know. I just bring him
Lennon
on.
ugly.
Bring him in. Stuart asked, okay, here's one of this kind of, there's a lot of questions about Jota. So we'll touch on Jota very quickly here. I'm going to give my opinion first. I think it's absolute nonsense that people are now suddenly turning their nose up at him and kidding on there's not a player there. You've already kind of said that, Kieran, but this is one of the most talented players I've ever seen in a Celtic jersey in recent times. There's absolutely no shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, that we should try and make him a permanent Celtic player, even if he hasn't been hitting those heights the last few games. I think he's fantastic. But Stuart asked the question, do you think Jota has had his head turned, especially after he went back to Portugal for a short time for treatment? Callum, what are you thinking?
Personally, in terms of bringing him in, as you said, there's definitely a player there. We've all seen it. Players go through these wee dips in parts of the season, so there's no doubt. Definitely I would be bringing them in, but I don't really know. But I wouldn't really say he said his head turned. I feel it's just in a wee dip in terms of form. That's about it.
Has he ditched the headband yet? Is he still?
I don't actually know. I didn't really notice.
I reckon if he takes that off, I think it's just as simple as that. Mind how people saying if Barkas gets a skin fade, like, just take the headband off. Simple as that.
Take it off.
I think with the whole thing about people, I feel like people are trying to find reasons for why he's not been playing as well, and it's like I think people are trying to put 2 and 2 together with him going back to Benfica for treatment that when he was injured, and they're looking for reasons why he's not been playing as well. But I think it was Callum said, it's just the ups and downs of a player's season. It's football. I think people are just trying to find a reason for things when it's just at the end of the day it's just natural. He's out of form now, kinda.
Yeah. Kieran, he's in the comments. Here he is. The brig after the game. Discuss. That is genuinely, and I would like to apologise right now to both Kieran and Callum. I'd like to apologise to anybody who watches this show who was at the brig on Sunday. I'd like to apologise to Kieran. I'd like to apologise to absolutely anybody who had to deal with the absolute state that I was. I honestly have never been in such a state in my life. I don't think. I don't know how. I just don't remember nothing. Apparently people were like, you were telling me, put a pint into my hand or something. Down, bang, flare. Somebody comes out with another one. Bang, boom, flare. 2 pints, just away in the flare. Chicken the grip.
Must have been mashing your hands with butter on.
I honestly have no words for the state I got into. It was those Magnums I had in the bus. The ice lollies. I honestly, no words, mate, no words. And then used to fucked off and I didn't even know.
The brig was bouncing, to be fair, man.
Aye.
It was.
He's bouncing. I've seen it in a while when it was after a defeat.
I know, exactly, yeah.
Get upstairs opens, man.
I get it back. Yeah, after the 50 grand fine. Callum, what about the brig for you? You came later on, joined us. You have a good wee day, aye.
It was good. So
Is that the first time you've been in the brig?
Was
it?
the first time, aye.
Wow.
I don't know, so even my wee cousin's been in before me, Brad was. But no, it was good. I fair enjoyed myself, but Just rather the results a bit different. I think we're enjoying it a bit now.
Right, rapid fire for the last few so we can get onto the quiz and try and wrap this up as close to an hour as possible. So I'm going to go rapid fire. First of all, Callum, for you, is Callum Craig single? My pal's actually obsessed with him. She thinks he's the best looking man in the west of Scotland by a mile. She's too shy to ask for his Snapchat.
First of all, the worst part is I'm for the east, not the west. So.
No, but you're the west of Scotland.
Right.
You're from the west of Scotland.
Fuck knows.
Glasgow's in the west
Glasgow
of
in the
Scotland.
west.
My
Aye.
head's mush.
Aye.
No, I'm not, but Sean does know that answer. Sean knows who he is.
Nice. Okay.
You've touched on he's been in the TSF one and off. Times.
I'm sure he asked that on Monday or whatever.
Let's see. Who do. Out of all the Japanese players, who do you reckon listens to the most Rebs?
Hidiguchi, dark horse.
Nice.
Maeda.
I was going to say Maeda. He's got the look. He loves
yeah.
this shite. Aiden, he asks, Pitbull smash or pass?
Smash.
Would smash. What was your carry-outs for last weekend? I said I started on beer, then went on to Bucky, then went on to Magnums, then went back to beer.
I just beat it the full day.
I don't even remember. I don't know what I was thinking in the pub, to be fair. I remember getting a Venom at one point. But
Nice. Right, okay. What type of Easter eggs did we all get? Ask Ellie. What Elliot, I'm so sorry. What a legend you are, Elliot, mate. What type of Easter eggs did we all get? I got the Kit Kat Biscoff one.
I told my man Dano to get me one, but my boss in work ended up getting us all a Celebrations one. So
Nice.
I had that.
Were you?
Kit Kat and Bounty.
Kit Kat, but just normal Kit Kat?
Kit Kat Chunky.
Kit Kat Chunky. Is it not the Biscoff one?
Nah.
Oh, you missed a trick there. Beans asks how much respect I have for cardiac carers. A lot of respect, Beans.
Frontline workers.
The frontline workers. Will we see a Kieran rant about Lennon's interview? Asked Shay. We've had that.
We've already
Yes,
seen it.
we have seen it. And then finally, to end off the show, a lot of questions this week, so thank you very much. We'll end off with a food question as we always do. Joe asks, what is your order when you get an Indians?
Never get an Indian.
Nah.
Name,
I'm not
same.
getting Indian.
What a disappointment. I seen somebody,
Ask it again, the next one.
I seen somebody ask what the Subway order was. I can't remember who it was that asked
right.
it. But
Tuna
I
cheese, like-
wanted you to say what yours was, you manky bastard.
That's fucking horrible.
Right, so I'll explain for the viewers. When I was younger and I went to Subway, I panicked. I didn't know what to do. So I just picked everything that I knew I liked. So
It still makes me bulk, man.
honestly, delicious. Try it. Someday try it and tell me you've tried it and tell me how nice it is. So get any bread you want, but I used to get the Italian herbs and cheese bread.
Of course you did.
And I'd get the tuna, I'd get cheese, I'd get lettuce, I'd get pickles and barbecue sauce.
Can we kick your ass? That's fucking howling.
It's not what I get
Bastard.
anymore.
Oh.
I've grew up and I now get chicken tikka, cheese, lettuce, jalapeno, southwest, bang.
That's the same as me.
Exactly.
Chicken tikka, cheese, lettuce, jalapeno, southwest sauce.
What about you?
See, to be fair, I mix it up any time I go. Majority of the time, chicken tikka, barbecue, sweet corn, peppers.
I'm not a fan of sweet corn.
You like
love
sweet corn?
Nah.
Oh well. Right, that's the 12 questions done for this week. So let's move on to the final segment of the show, and let's move on to the if you know the history. I don't even know if this has still got the. It's time for the if you know your history quiz. The league table that we've posted on Twitter, by the way, it's very juicy at this moment in
I didn't
time.
know we were all level.
We're all level. We've all played 6 games. We've all got 3 wins, and we've all got 3 losses. And today is going to be me taking on Kieran Auld at the other end of the table, and Callum is going to be your quiz master. Callum, take it away, son. I'm looking forward to this quiz. We couldn't get Matthew Duff this week.
I've not got a coin flip.
Matthew Duff couldn't get us a quiz this week, so we've let Callum take charge. So we're
Just
hoping
let
we're
Ryan
good.
pick which set he wants to go.
Ryan, do you want set A or set B?
I will go set B.
Set B.
I'll go set B this week.
Right. So, Kieran, obviously starting off from set A, I will say for the viewers as well, this was a last minute quiz, so we have bumped it for the Celtic website. So, it is from 5 days ago, so all
Won't be any
answers
questions
won't
about
be in today with Sunday's game. So, starting us off, Kieran, who scored the winner in the last Glasgow derby at Hampden? So, this is previous to the weekend.
Julian.
Correct. And now,
It's a
Ryan,
good first
flip it
question
over
as well.
to yourself.
Right.
Come in back from that one. What was the score in the Scottish Cup derby semi-final? This one previous to that.
Previous to that.
Well, the last Scottish Cup one. Sorry, not
Right, the
cup.
last Scottish Cup semi-final that we played against Rangers
at Hampden.
at Hampden. Now I'm stuck between 2-0 and 4-0. I can't remember what game came after. I think it's Celtic 2, Rangers 0.
Wanker.
4-0.
Oh,
You had that, I know.
can't you?
Shouldn't have changed it. Right, Kieran, to go 2 ahead. Which 2 Celtic players scored from this spot in that game? In that 4-0.
Dembele and Cham.
Correct. 2-0 to Kieran.
Fucked already.
Bring it back to yourself, Ryan. What was the score when the 2 teams met in the 2016-17 semi-final?
The 2016-17 semi-final.
Yes.
So that'll be the 2-0.
Yes.
I was waiting for you to get that right. Surely to God he's not getting that right.
So that'll be the 2-0.
Bring it back. So, Kieran, to go 3-1 up, how many Celtic players from the current squad were in that squad too?
The full squad.
Yes.
For what one was this? 26?
So, for the 16-17 semi-final, there's 3 players
Two.
currently still in the team that featured in that team.
So I need to say who they are.
Yes.
James Forrest, Cal McGregor, and 2016-17. Oh, boys.
Lee Griffiths.
I think I'm trying to think. Come through it rapid in my head. Rogic.
Yes. Correct.
Never forgot him now, man.
So, also, throwing it back to yourself, Ryan, aside from the derbies, which other teams provided Scottish Cup semi-final opponents for Celtic during the quadruple treble?
Oh, fucking hell. So the first season it would have been Rangers. Second season it would have been Rangers. Then the third season it would have been, so that was what, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19. Hibs.
Aberdeen.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Right, so Kieran could win it with this alone.
Yeah, my head is mush.
What's the score there now?
3-1.
to you, this is it, you could win here.
How many questions are left?
Two
Yeah,
each.
2.
2.
Aye. So, Kieran, taking the next question. Who was the last Scottish player to score for Celtic in the Glasgow Derby?
Oh, what? So I'm trying to go back for me. I don't even know. I'm going to just say Cal McGregor.
Lee Griffiths.
Do you want to hazard a guess?
Is James Forrest.
That is James
Oh,
Forrest.
aye.
It's a 2-1 win.
Before that.
So, to hopefully try and put yourself back in it, Ryan. How many nationalities have scored for Celtic in these games since then?
Since that game.
What was that? March 2019.
Right, so there's been French, I think. There's been. Is it including Forrests?
It's just give me how many
Yeah,
nationalities have scored for Celtic in
Oh,
these
I
games
don't know.
since
I've got to
then.
go 4.
7.
Oh, for the love of fuck. So well done,
I
Kieran.
take it away. Games to be
Dead well.
Well done, Kieran. You won, mate. Well done.
The last questions that would have been you would have had, Kieran, was which side did Celtic meet in the League Cup semi-final at Hampden earlier this season?
St Johnstone.
Correct.
Well done, Kieran.
So
The winner
well
of
done.
this week's quiz, which means in the league table standings, Kieran is up to 7 played with 4 wins. I'm up to 7 played with 3 wins, and then obviously
Got a positive win percentage now.
Yep, and I'm in
Ratio.
negative. Ratio. Haha. Idolo. That's it then for this week, pretty much. We've done it.
Have we kept it under an hour?
Mate, we have.
Let's not rip it.
We have. We've got 2 minutes to spare. So, it's been nice. It's been good. I've enjoyed it. Kieran, thank you for coming on this week.
It's been a good laugh this week.
Do you know what I've not actually done? Not asked you for your score predictions for the weekend.
Don't like you, man.
You don't like you, man. You're not doing it?
Nah.
Come on.
Just go out and win.
Just go out and win. Predicting I Celtic win at least.
Hopefully, I.
Callum, you got a score prediction?
Nope.
He's a boring old
Just
bastard.
don't want to put it out there. I just want to jinx it.
I just remember some of the statements McGinley was hitting at me last week, so no.
We're better than Dortmund.
I know. I was hoping they'd picked up on that.
They did.
I know, I seen it in the
They
comments.
certainly did. They certainly did. I remember my face at the time. I was like, hey. Oh no. Oh no, you did not see that. Thank you once again, AJ Celtic, for the fantastic stickers. They're brilliant. Sends them out every now and then. I've got more on the laptop now. But that does it for us this week. If you have enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of the streaming services, go and give us a 5-star rating. Share it out with all your friends. Go and follow us on Twitter. For me, Kieran and Callum, that'll do us this week. And we'll see you all before the derby or whenever next time.